Minister held a summit against anti-Semitism in Downing Street today, inviting leaders from a number of different organisations, including huge organisations like the NHS, trade unionism, and the like, to name just two, from the world of the arts as well. Greg has called from Southend-on-Sea. The Prime Minister said, Greg, it will take us all. So what do we do? What are we facing?
I don't think you're going to stop it, to be honest. I don't think you will. As a central researcher, my two young boys grew up in a Islamic household and were told from the age of 6 and 9, this is 20 years ago, to hate Jews. So that shows you how...
Sorry, they're your sons?
My two sons, 25 years ago, I split up with my ex. They were 6 and 9 at the time. Within 6 months of converting to Islam, they were told to hate Jews. They had signs, like the Nike signs, ripped out the back of their tops. They weren't allowed to buy any products or eat or drink any products to do with Israel or Jews.
And is this because your ex-partner, ex-wife, their mother converted to Islam?
Yes. And within 6 months, she just hated anything to do with Israel and Jews, or Israel and Jews, I say. And like I say, this is 20 years ago, so I've seen this coming for a long while. And like I say, this is one household that my boys have lived. So how many other hundreds of thousands of households up and down the country are having the same issue?
It's certainly present in some Muslim families, but I don't think we can assume it's present in all, and therefore there's nothing we can do about it.
No, but there's 4 million. There's 4 million in the country. If there's just 10%, that's 400,000.
But Greg, this isn't just a Muslim issue. It would be an injustice to Muslims in this country to assume that it is. Are there Islamist supporters, politically active Islamists in some British Muslim families? Yeah, of course there are. But I think we need to make sure, because it is more than just Islamism. Look at the marches. It's more than just Islamism. People are having their heads turned. Sometimes, not all people on those marches, but having their heads turned by some of this constant barrage of genocide, river to the sea, all that stuff that's going on. And it's turning them against ordinary British Jews. And that isn't just a Muslim issue, by any means. Thanks, Greg, for the call. David in Bayswater, hello.
Yeah, hi, Sheila. As you know, I'm a great supporter of the Palestinians, but I'm going to really shock you today, because I'm going to tell you, I used to work in a college with a lot of Muslim students, and there is a lot of prejudice in the Islamic community against Jews. There's Holocaust denial. A lot of bad stuff is said in the mosques, which we never hear about, but I'm sure there's a lot of prejudice expressed. So I think there is, but we can't use a top-down approach. It's just not going to work. We can't tell people what to think. So we need to throw water in the fire, right, to try and at least make some inroads into this anti-Semitism.
No, we can't tell people what to think, because that's pointless. And, exactly. It's pointless.
So
and it's wrong. It's wrong as well. Yeah, it's wrong as well. Help them to think. Help people to think.
Here's some ways to dial it down. We need to see a bit more of an even-handed approach to Israel. First of all, coming from, say, the British Board of Deputies, the Jewish Board of Deputies, they expel some members for criticising Israel. What optics does that give to the Jewish community? Because many people will see them as representing the community, and they see that members are being expelled for criticising what many Muslims and many people consider a near genocidal regime. So we need to start trying to change the optics in the community as a whole. For example, the march coming up, which people...
One?
The one remembering the Nakba, which is when all the Palestinians were kicked off their land, 750,000. That is being portrayed as a hate march. It isn't. I'm going on that march because I think of those 750,000 people who were thrown off their land.
It's not being portrayed as a hate march by everybody. Let me finish my sentence, David. I'm saying it's not being portrayed as a hate march by everybody.
I'm telling you it is, though, Sheila.
By everybody. I don't think it's a hate march.
Well, it is. I know, but I'm telling you, if you listen to the media, especially in the LBC, they are trying to portray it. Not you. I'm not saying you, Sheila.
But I don't think we are trying to portray it as a hate march. We're examining what goes on in them, that's all.
Sheila, honestly, they are. They're portraying it. It's all negative. Why can't we even Keir Starmer is trying to portray them as...
It really hasn't all been negative, David. Obviously, I hear what I say about it, but I have heard Nick Ferrari's thoughts on it. I've heard James's thoughts on it. I've heard Tom's thoughts on it. Just because you tackle some of the negatives in something doesn't mean you'll be rating it completely. See our earlier conversation about Keir Starmer at the beginning of the programme. Thanks, David. I want to make room for Layla in Birmingham as well. Hello, Layla.
Hello, Sheila.
What do you think we need to do? If it's going to take all of us, what will that look like?
I mean, I've listened to your conversation this afternoon, and I've listened to you talk about the Holocaust, and I have every sympathy. It was an absolutely abhorrent time. It was awful. I think if you could see what is happening, well, you probably do know what is happening in Gaza now.
Well, on that, sorry to interrupt you, but on that, I don't think we do know properly yet what's happening in Gaza. We see reports that this so-called deal that they had with the Americans and the peace board, or whatever they call it, the Board of Peace. I mean, we just don't know enough about it. We don't know enough about who's on it and what's going on.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I think if you look at the devastation Israel has caused, how it's been reduced to rubble, the same thing which is going on in Lebanon.
Israel only?
Israel, well, yeah, and with the help, I don't know, but
Israel and...
I wouldn't say it was Hezbollah, or I don't think they're actually Hamas. Yeah, I don't. I think when you look at Hamas compared to the IDF, I think it's clear to see who has the upper hand.
Do you know how that war was waged by Hamas as well as the IDF?
I do know that, but what I'm getting back to...
But you don't really care much about that bit.
If you was to have the Holocaust now broadcast in 4D all over social media and on mainstream television and everything else, if you was to have that going on right now and you had to pick a side, you wouldn't pick the IDF, which is what they're equivalent doing a genocide in Gaza.
But do you know what every Jew? Do you know what every Jew in Golders Green or any other part of the UK thinks about?
I don't see the Jews in
So
Golders Green.
therefore, anti-Semitism against them or towards them is as plain wrong as any other kind of racism.
I absolutely agree with you.
So why are you bringing Israel and the IDF up?
So what I'm saying is it's a root cause where you've got the IDF and Israel portraying to the world what they're doing in Gaza, the amount of bombing children that it's been reduced.
So why were the Hamas attacks before the attack on Gaza by the IDF? Why were there terrorist attacks in this country by Islamists before the Gaza war? Why were the faces of the hostages being torn off walls in this country? I'm talking about anti-Semitism in this country. In this country before Netanyahu had put his socks on to go to war. Why, Layla? And the answer, you know the answer, because anti-Semitism pre-existed and the feeling that Jews can never be victims pre-existed in this country.
I agree with that, totally. I don't agree with that at all.
Can you explain those things to me any other way?
I just think it's...
Why did people tear the hostages' faces off the walls? What is that? Describe that to me in any way other than Jew hate.
I think it's a long history with Israel and Palestine.
Everything is a long history.
It's not been going on since October the 7th. It's been going on since 1947, from the Nakba days and all of that. That's when it's been going on from. It's not.
Did it begin at the Nakba, anti-Semitism?
I mean, how many people...
Did anti-Semitism begin at the Nakba?
No, not
QED, Layla, QED.
Well before that, it's been here
in this country as well.
If you go back to Shakespearean times and it's been that. I agree with
you.
And
the blood libel has its origins here.
What I'm getting down to is basically the fact that you've got areas where you've got these attacks which are happening, which are disgusting. But if they was to turn around and say, actually, we condone what the IDF are doing, we condone what Israel are doing, the amount of...
But you won't say you don't condone what Hamas is doing. So why should they be held responsible for what the Israeli government decides to do? You couldn't even give me opinion on what Hamas did. And I don't even mean on October the 7th. I mean to its own people in Gaza, Layla. So why should the Jews of Britain be responsible for Benjamin Netanyahu's decision-making? Thank you very much for your call, all the same. Layla in Birmingham. That's it from me for today.